Oh no, we're going there first.
Are
Fuck
we?
the music in this movie. Fuck it forever. Holy shit.
Was it
This movie?
I do like the drone. No, but I will
keyboard
defend.
stuff?
The wrath of God.
No, I defend the droney shit though. That's good.
No,
Do you think it was keyboard? Do you think it was keyboard stuff? Or do you think it was an actual guy and
other stuff?
They could have used didgeridoos. You're right.
Yeah.
Didgeridoo, or as my wife calls them, didgeridons.
But the thing,
Right.
So this movie, and this was really weird for me, is this movie commits several auditory crimes through the course of it. I watched the Criterion. I watched the Criterion version. I watched the Criterion version of this through these pretty fucking decent headphones. One, the audio levels are all the fuck over the place in this.
I noticed that.
You can't understand what the fuck she's saying at the beginning of the movie unless you turn it all the way up. The Foley is garbage. The fucking
looping is garbage.
Oh my God. What's her name? Edith? Like they redubbed her entire performance, and it's the most obvious fucking dubbed dialogue I've ever seen in my life. At one point, she literally has the fucking tissue in her mouth like this, and she's talking completely clearly. Like I
thought that helped actually.
And then it does one of the things that I absolutely hate in movies, which is in the scene where he finds her, the other girl later on.
He finds her. Yeah.
The music goes on and then it drops. And then they have the part where he finds her, and then it picks up immediately as soon as he starts yelling for help. And it's just like, why? You just keep playing the music. It's fine.
That's like an old technique that,
like this movie isn't that old. Like it's old, but it's not that
75.
old.
Okay.
No. I mean, they were still using
years.
They were using that technique, Tad, in like the 80s and 90s.
Jaws.
Well, mind you, Australian cinema
which has amazing music.
It wasn't really stepped out on international stage at this point. It was still like
It's
domestic
also
cinema.
like first.
Second.
Plus the fact that
Peter Weir's second film.
It looks like it's 1880s, but it's really 1900 because fucking Australia was behind.
Yeah.
But let's start with the
yes, they were behind. Yes.
Oh, one other thing. Some of the acting in this movie is just absolute dog shit. Like some of the I get that they found these people in South Australia in like community theater groups because they wanted people who weren't like as worldly, and you can tell that most of these people are not professional actors, and it is rough in a lot of places. Like
that chunky girl was particularly bad. I can't remember her name.
They dubbed over
and they
her.
Dubbed her. Yeah, you could tell she was
even with that, I could still like not a great performance.
But having said all that,
has a weird quality.
I think this movie is fucking awesome. This movie is so fucking awesome.
I wouldn't go that far.
Oh, no. It's got a feeling to it. It's got a vibe.
It's got a vibe.
Very compelling.
I just want to point out. I want to point out quickly too that in addition to the people gone missing theme that we have going on this week, a rock theme.
Yeah,
like
outcropping,
which was unintentional. But you've got like what we were describing in La Ventura, the rock island. Here you've got the hanging rock. So
however, this obviously has more going on. Like there's the tree and there's the moss. And
but I just mean in general.
Yeah, no, I know. But
and it's more of a character than the island was, although the island kind of figured as a character too.
The island is a sort of
I think it did
absurd character.
The island gets more close-ups in that movie than most of the actors. So
yeah.
At the point, I was getting a little tired.
Yeah, the island is more more existentialist, and this is more mystical.
It is mystical.
This movie is fucking mystical as hell. You know what? You know what? This would make a
you don't hire Zamfir if you don't fucking want to.
Exactly.
You know what we need is a pan flute. We're gonna need a pan flute right here and here and here.
Well, this movie has kind of become a cult classic, actually.
It was most definitely the first Australian breakout international things.
And I will just say that if any of you guys have never seen his next movie, The Last Wave, he wiped a lot of shit out by the time he made it.
Watch The Last Wave, and Gallipoli is also a good.
Gallipoli is great, but Last Wave later, and Last Wave is fucking awesome.
But I love how haunting this movie is in general. The vibe and the
he
tone.
definitely has it.
Well, they definitely they spent some time on what's her name? Matilda? No, the woman who disappears. The really.
Oh yeah,
Miranda.
Miranda. It's like he tends to lost time on her face, a lot of time on her figure, and it's like she's almost an otherworldly figure in the beginning. She's talking about leaving and not coming back, and knowing she's leaving. And
this also,
I was fascinated by the headmistress.
Yeah,
that ridiculous helmet of hair.
Did you guys see the alternate ending? It's on YouTube. Did you watch it?
No. What's the alternate ending?
Alternate ending. It's on YouTube in its entirety, where the headmistress goes up into a hanging rock to look for him, and she ends up falling off a cliff and dies.
Oh, I thought she jumped off.
Oh, which is just done in voiceover.
No, they find her later on. No, this time you see her wandering around up in there and getting more and more disheveled, going the same place as they went. No. And then they talk. Then it goes back to narration at the end of the film, talking about that he found her at the bottom of a escarpment, dead. And
I had forgotten what an unsympathetic character she was, and the whole plot about her worried about the girls, that she's losing enrollment. It's like when they find the one girl.
About the girls, she's worried about her bottom
job.
line.
Yeah.
When they find one of the 4 missing, she's like, "Don't you see this makes it worse?"
Yeah.
Because now it's going to be in the news more.
Mm-hmm. And how about when the one girl they did find, before she leaves, they present her in this colorful red.
Yes.
Oh, she's like the prostitute.
And they send her in. Yeah, they send her into the dance class or the posture class
to say goodbye.
To say goodbye. You get this great frenetic, crazy scene. Yeah. And then, I mean, I love this whole scene, right?
But then Sarah's bound to the fucking wall.
Yeah, they pan over and Sarah's like in some BDSM shit.
I know. She's
what is going on here?
Harness.
Right.
It's like watching the whole thing tied up. Like,
well, I was still reeling at that point from her brother being the crazy Aussie.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, I haven't seen my sister since she went off to the orphanage. It's like
Sarah.
Go to the Criterion.
Oh yeah, they touched on that. Why didn't they develop that?
There's no payoff. It's just like, oh my God, he's the
brother. Oh, cool. This is nice. This is a nice connection. This is going to solve something. It doesn't solve shit. It just stops.
So I read a couple of think pieces about this one because I'm trying to figure out whether I liked it or not. There's one on the Criterion.com website. I don't know whether maybe they just pulled it off the Blu-ray or something.
You didn't like it.
Well, I think I sort of did. But there's a think piece.
You have to read about it to find out if you like it. You didn't like it.
It specifically mentions the scene Jared just mentioned, which is when the survivor comes back and all the girls basically mob are like, what happened? And they never find out.
I can't remember.
And the whole fucking movie is basically, pent up, budding sexual desire.
It's like a critique of the Victorian age, which happened in the Victorian age.
You're never going to get the thing that you want.
How about that shot? How about that shot of them all tying each other's corsets? Like that was beautiful.
That was really nice.
Yeah, it was a good shot.
And I cannot fault the art direction and the cinematography of this movie.
This movie got nominated for so many cinematography awards. Like
really?
So fucking many. Yeah.
I didn't think it was that outstanding.
I thought
that was good for what it was at the time, but it wasn't particularly amazing. But I think I'm a little biased because later on along came other films that were much better. But
right, yeah. Maybe at the time it was pretty wild because it has that nice soft focus. There's like not a lot of saturated dark
Mad Max
shadows in it.
I want to point out that this looks like the beginning of a Monty Python sketch.
Yes,
like you absolutely expect. Like
I'll give you that, but also
especially with the Aboriginal in like an old Surge red.
Time the guy with a freaking periscope. What's
how about the first time?
That was a pretty funny scene because they were basically staging a search for the photographer.
Terry Jones is going to walk out of the background of this, and he's going to start trying to sell you something. Like I don't.
That's pretty much it.
How do you do?
How about? But the first time you see and from there on out, but the first time you see the composition of all the girls at Hanging Rock, I think is one of the most beautiful. It's a freaking painting, dude.
Oh yeah, it is.
And they've got their parasails and they're sitting, standing, laying, and it's just so haunting and gorgeous and everything that I think this movie is about.
It's funny, they're warned before they even go that there's going to be venomous snakes and insects and all this other shit. Well, it's like, we're going to go.
Like the first time you hear about Australia.
Yeah, that's Australia.
Everything.
Like, this picture sounds like a great idea.
9 of the top 10 most venomous things on Earth are in Australia.
Yeah,
there's the top 10 list, and they're all in Australia.
Rudyard Kipling said there's 3 kinds of animals in Australia: poisonous, weird, and sheep. And the platypus is 2 of those.
Yeah.
We've already mentioned we mentioned Lynch once already, I think, when we were talking about the first film. So how about the cutaways? How about the cutaways to the ants and some of the like a precursor
I felt like that was Buñuel too.
Yes.
Taking away the picnic, eating away at it. But
I love my favorite one is when it's eating the ants are on the cake, right?
Right. You're on that cake.
Well, this whole movie is like this repressed Victorian, like barely human kind of quality hitting nature. You know, it's like hitting animal nature.
But I immediately thought of Blue Velvet as well.
It was a flashback to
also
Blue
Pie
Velvet is a good example, but it's a flashback to the sort of 60s, like
maybe
70s, I guess. What's the ruling class with
and Jackson? No, Glenda Jackson.
Yes, and the almost even to the Devils. I mean, this whole sort of them trying to come to terms with the repressed.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Also, did anyone see? There's this brilliant gangster film from Australia called Animal Kingdom that came out like in
2014.
Yes,
they made a TV show out of it.
They did make a TV show out of it, which I never watched, but the film is fucking
on like TNT. It's terrible.
The film is the first time I ever saw Ben Mendelsohn, and of course I've been a fan ever since.
And it's got what's her name?
Well, so the mom in that, who is terrifying, is she's the maid in this, Jackie Weaver.
Oh wow.
Oh, the one fucking the show.
Yeah, the one that's sleeping with the and
that was fun. I thought the weird thing is that this is such they live in this. They're a bunch of boarding school girls. They kind of all dress in white and all have very structured lives. It's very English. In this,
you may take your gloves off when it gets hot.
It's extremely proper and very English in the Australia in South Australia, basically.
Yeah, this is still the British colonies.
I got the feeling these girls are kind of half out of reality anyway.
Yeah.
Because most of them are British.
It's British. It's transporting all that that aesthetic or that sensibility to Australia, which is the wilderness.
I thought these girls had to have a foot in a fancy world, and so when the 4 girls wander off, it's like they were just kind of like following basically fairies. They were just kind of going off and doing their own thing, and they're in a fancy world, and then disappearing.
But I love how that was filmed as well. I love
it felt like it too. It's like it felt unreal, and
they're definitely going to fool Arthur Conan Doyle with this in a couple of years.
I wanted to say, since we started with the audio, I wanted to circle back to that a little bit. Did you guys? I had to crank it up to get the dialogue, and so of course when they got to Hanging Rock, there was so much bass, just this unmotivated rumbling bass on the soundtrack.
It was pretty odd.
Maybe score, or maybe they just put some rumbling sounds in there.
I was riding the volume control this entire
I actually liked
constantly.
That. No, I never had to. I watched it on Criterion. I never had to. I didn't have any problems with the audio.
When it wasn't
I was on headphones, so I had to kind of ride it.
It was like it was either pan flute or it was just just throbbing hum.
I appreciate it.
You may
the drone is all right.
It's kind of avant-garde, and I kind of digged it. And then when it was musical, it was sort of somewhere between symphonic and Pink Floyd. Sort of the melodies that they were playing. And so I was like getting such a 70s.
And they even had a credit for the flautist or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They had a credit.
Zamfir, master of the pan flute.
Zamfir, master of the pan flute. Yes. Yeah, you would see him in the 80s. They were selling his CDs like on infomercials.
Right.
Yeah. But what I was going to say was, it's like, so I kind of dug the dated 70s mystique kind of hippie vibe. It's like there's like a tiny bit of Wicker Man in there.
Peter Weir's absolutely, dude.
Peter Weir is always Peter Weir is always on this sort of mystical, even when he's doing even when he's doing like Fearless, there's this mystical feeling that you get from what happens to the characters.
Witness is a perfect example.
Witness is an absolutely perfect example because it's still a mystical journey for this guy.
Yeah.
What I was going to bring up,
right, which unfortunately, you know, it backfires against them because this story is totally made up. Just
wait. I was going to get to that. This never
No,
happened?
this is 100% fake.
Oh no shit. It feels so much like a historical thing. Yeah.
There's a really good Skeptoid episode where he goes over sort of how
But they present this as real though.
Right.
Yeah,
how this
historical.
became thought of as being real. And
it's entered
really
into Australian folklore now.
Yeah, it's folklore.
Now they all think it actually happened.
What's going on there? Yeah.
Well, so there's another book called Murder at Hanging Rock, which is then a bunch of people giving their thoughts on like what actually happened, which is interesting because then later on they also released the unpublished final chapter of the book that actually explains what happens. Like, which is.
But is it nothing? Nothing happened?
No. So something mystical does occur because they take their corsets off and they all float up into the sky.
Wow.
And then after that happens, that's why he sees the corset up on the top of the rock. And
as the Exodus.
And then as that happens, a rock falls and blocks them into the crevice that they're in, and they can never get back out.
Yeah.
Damn.
Wow.
Damn.
Like, it's
Peter Weir made that 20 years later with the digital effects. He could have got away with it.
Yeah.
20 years later, that would have come out, so he would have been able to read that.
Yeah, but you know, if you spell it out, it's not as magical if you spell it out. If we'd actually watched the girls fly into the sky, you know, it just would have been okay.
You know, I'm gonna disagree.
They don't fly into the sky; their corsets fly into the sky.
Werner Herzog could have pulled it off.
Probably definitely could have pulled it off. Yes,
Fitzgerald
narrated it.
Yeah, but you know, the reactions of the people who were survived the disappearance. This versus L'Avventura, very different.
Very different.
I think this film is very grounded.
Fucking Anglophone versus
but this is all grounded in the reality of what's happening.
Know what happened.
It's almost like a tabloid story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, it is because he's reading the Times Argus. The dad is reading the Times Argus with the microscope, and he gets to the actual thing, and they have the drawing of. Is it Sarah? I think, or no, it's not Sarah.
It's the other one. I think
Miranda. Yeah, it is the drawing of her, and it says 4 still missing, like big giant above the
presumed dead.
Yeah.
It's interesting to. One thing I was thinking a lot about was the bulk of both of these movies take place after the disappearance of a character or characters,
and
I love I love the exploration of how different the people look, or the survivors look and try to find or not find the characters.
Yeah.
Some people become obsessed with finding out what happened and finding out what the truth is.
Would have been a good double feature. I think this would have been a good double feature with Gone Girl.
Oh yeah.
I was going to bring up, when we were talking about soundtrack, I was going to say this would make a good double feature with The Valley Obscured by Clouds. Has anybody?
Yes!
Yeah.
Interesting.
And that's why I brought up
Pink Floyd.
I like that.
Yes, that's a great record. You and I love that album.
I love that record.
Yeah, it's a cool record.
I also thought it was really interesting because we still really haven't touched on this. The fact that when the doctor is meeting with the headmistress, and he's talking,
intact,
and
Virgo
specifically asks if she's been molested, and the only people who were up there
were those
women.
Boys,
right?
Well, no, but the women. We don't know about
boys. Suspect he followed them.
But we don't know. But we don't know about
cut it like that. The film cut it.
Well, there's definitely. Oh, there's so much like lesbianism stuff going on in this thing too.
Oh yeah.
But all those people are not like. So I'm talking about what the characters know at the time. At the time, all the characters know is that the women went up by themselves.
And disappeared.
Right. And all of the men that they know of are down back at the base camp with everybody else.
The guy who drove them up there.
Yeah.
Well, no, but again, he's back with everyone else. He's not up on the rocks.
He has an alibi.
Oh, he's not on the rocks. Yeah.
Right. So the only people who could have molested her in the mind of Mrs. Appleby is one of the other girls. So
or the teacher that came up.
What if they'd come across somebody? That's not true, Tad, because what if they'd come across someone, a stranger, while they were up there?
That's not what the movie's implying.
And Tad's going by, they didn't introduce another character. We're going based on the given circumstances.
Haven't been introduced. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that's the whole.
I think the Colonel did it.
The whole point of it
feels
the whole point of
with
it
the candlestick
is that there's
in the observatory.
There's this below the surface level that then occasionally rises up to the surface level question about different kinds of sexuality in this movie. Not just, this is obviously a movie about sexuality across the board.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you have this sort of, it's a boarding school and they're all girls and what could possibly be happening there? And then it comes back down and it goes back up and then it comes back down. And
we saw Sister George the previous year.
I don't know if, I couldn't tell from the film if between Miranda and Sarah was unrequited or not. It could have been one of those kind of a longing thing.
Well, she tells her to
misunderstandings.
Yeah, and there's the other two girls
in the beginning. She tells her to go love someone else.
Yeah.
Miranda tells Sarah you better fall in love with
somebody besides.
She knows that Sarah's in love with her, but I don't know if they actually did it or it wasn't. That was kind of, it wasn't implied. You know what I mean?
No, it wasn't.
And then again, there's the other two girls later on in the movie who are in the same bed. They're in the same twin bed, and they're holding hands. Like they're asleep and they're holding hands together. And it's like, that is taking a step beyond, sometimes people sleep in the same bed for whatever reason. Like the hand holding implies something.
True.
But it's lovely. It's like everything else in the film. The hand holding could be best friends or sexual lovers. Like it could be both.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying about it. It keeps coming and then going back down.
Yeah. Plus, although Sarah's final fate definitely
points to a different direction. Get the idea that the
she got thrown. Mrs. Appleby threw her off the fucking.
The headmistress.
You think so?
Were what, Jim?
You don't think that was wait, hold on, stop. Do you think that Sarah was I thought it was a suicide?
No, she threw her off. That's why she's fucking. That's why she's catatonic and she's wearing all of the fucking.
I thought she simply. I thought, you know what? Clothes. I did not connect the two. I simply thought that the headmistress just broke at that point.
No,
I did too. I didn't make that connection.
Broken, but she tossed her out. Yeah,
but there's also a theory that the headmistress is like in love with Sarah.
Yeah, and that's a different horse of a different color.
I thought the headmistress was in love with the governess, the one who disappears.
Well, she's definitely got.
She relied on her.
The way the headmistress treats Sarah is twofold. One, of course, is a financial aspect, but the other one is I think she's slightly obsessed with her.
It's very It's very grooming behavior. It's very. It's sort of negging behavior in a certain way when she starts to tell her the poem that she wrote, as soon as it becomes something about like love, she just fucking slaps it down. Yeah. It's just like it is very much this sort of like, you're kind of nothing without my approval, and that's grooming behavior.
Like, I absolutely loved that final shot of her in the black.
Yeah,
that was and then like looking at the camera, pretty much.
It's Sarah, it's Sarah, and then she turns and looks.
Yeah, God,
that felt like the end of like a Mulholland Drive.
Yeah, dude, that's what I mean. This movie, I'm telling you guys, this movie.
Oh,
is
weird! Another one of the
David Lynch. No, David Lynch definitely.
We're talking to the guy. I mean, I'm the one that chose Carnival of Souls 2 or whatever 2 years ago. Like,
whoa,
these are the kind of movies I like, you guys.
Wow. he has a type.
He has a type.
All right.
I give it up.
Give it up. All right.
I give it an up.
I guess I didn't say that I was bored and I thought it was too slow.
Thumbs up.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Wait,
no. What, John? What
I said? I guess I didn't say it, but I was bored and I thought it was too slow.
I somewhat agree with you.
I somewhat agree with you, but I'm at the margin giving it.
It's interesting movie. It's an interesting movie to talk about, but I was really like after, especially L'Aventure had more going on to me.
Wow, I thought the opposite. This was
you thought the opposite.
Maybe because the opposite.
Yeah,
I thought they had about the same
100 minutes long. I thought it was tidy.
I saw this movie
much different style.
I saw
that's
this
another.
movie.
That's another interesting thing
I
is
want
that
more
the director's
longer
cut. The
movies.
director's cut. The
More and
Criterion-
longer, slower movies.
The Criterion director's cut is 7 minutes shorter
Yeah,
than the original
the director's
version.
cut
He
shorter
cut
than the
7 minutes out of
Even
this
he
movie.
thinks it's a little too slow.
I think.
Oh dear.
If you watch the Criterion version,
I watched the Criterion.
unless you have it on disc, which came with
Why
both
do you-
versions. If you watch the Criterion
How
version,
could
you
you
watch
be
the
so
director's
into
cut.
movies and hate
Well,
them all?
this has the two of the biggest thumbs up from me. This one.
All right.
I
love
qualified.
your theme.
Yeah,
It's
I'll
like
give it a qualified thumbs up.
women disappearing in rocky areas. That's a very cool theme.
And potentially homoerotic.
Women,
For sure.
And also
definitely homo.
also
Lots
maybe
of okay.
maybe for
So this week
supernatural
was
reasons.
this week was people disappearing, rocks, and sex.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's
like,
those all
I would
have
never
something
put
to
those
do
guys.
with one another.
I know it's like a Chipino of movies. You don't put these things together normally, but it worked out really well.
Dog party,
You're
really, that's
you're
the bar.
welcome. You're welcome.
Well done, thank you.